You guys, okay, everybody, let's. Oh, boy, no, nothing. We're live. We're live. We'll be back in 1 second here after the intro, right?
Is it just me? Or is it getting crazier out
Oh God, it's crazy. Hey everybody, welcome to Late
Crazy
Horror
in
Show. What is going
here.
on? It's crazy in here. It's yeah, there was a couple hiccups, but we're fine.
Crazy.
We're fine. So I'm Dino, and that's Ginger, and we are going to talk about Maniac, 1980. And I don't know if you did this on purpose, but we've got two movies in a row with mannequins, and it's the only two movies I know, horror-wise, that deal with mannequins in this manner. So this is very, very interesting. Did you do that on purpose?
I know.
Yes? No? Oh, then it's very, very odd. Very, very odd. So really quick, let me say hi to everybody in the chat. Looks like some new people. Edward Stewart, what's going on? Tom O, Tracy, Connie Clary, CM, what is going on? My dear, there you go. S hash Jeans, what's going on? Predecessor 1 says howdy, folks. I've never seen Predecessor 1, but good to see you. Welcome. WWM, Edward Stewart, Bella Utopia. What? What are you laughing at? What's funny, Ginger?
Saw it.
Did I see something? What's going on? No, tell me. I might have missed it. What happened?
What Bella Utopia said.
What? Oh, something new? RTN, what's going on? Mr. Chow from The Hangover, what's going on? I haven't seen you in a long time. Good to see you. Chris W is here. Yes, we're pretty laid back in these reviews. It's a movie discussion. I say hello to everybody, then we get into the deep talk with the movie. And there's going to be a lot to talk about for sure. Cosmic Squirrel, I think. Tommy Meyer. Yes, the great Savini. Exactly. This movie, The Disco Man, right? Tom Savini.
Disco Man.
Disco Man. And when we get to that scene, we'll talk about it. But yes, this is very interesting. I mean, there was a big to do when this movie came out. I mean, people were ripping down posters, and people
Paint him.
Yes, people were ripping it to shreds because before this, you only had like the Italian horror, which really dug into the grimy, gory side of life, and the killer. Prior to this, there was really not a lot of that, So people were like kind of up in arms, like, how dare you bring this to our U.S. cinemas and show this? And what this is.
There were a lot of Karens. There were a lot of Karens.
Well, there's always a lot of those. But hey, Trogdor, what's going on?
Hey, Erica.
Yeah, mannequin fetishes. It's probably from playing with figures and Barbies as a kid. Well, yeah, for this movie, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. There's a reason behind the mannequin, but it's funny that we got mannequins here, and then we had Tourist Trap, and there's so much similarity in the two movies when it comes to the mannequin. Not the movie.
Yes.
They're
Right.
totally different, separate types of movies. I mean, this movie, literally, it's a character study pretty much of the killer's perspective the entire film.
Yes, and I know you like that. You mentioned that in Prowler. I think this might be one of the very first horror movies that the whole movie was the camera just followed him. It was all from the killer's perspective. You got to find out why he does what he does and how he does it and what he's thinking about. And
yes, you get to dig deep into the psychology of the serial killer, the what's going on, what are his motivations, all of that interesting stuff, right? And it's everything just revolves around him. If there's a negative, it's the other characters. I mean, even though there are some like the nurse and Caroline Monroe, which we'll get to, which is kind of the would never happen in real life, really, with this Joe Spinell. But anyways, Vincent White, thank you very much for the super sticker 149, a purple cat. Thank you very much, appreciate it.
That was very nice.
Yes, but I mean, really quick, the movie is 1980. It was written by Rosenberg and Joe Spinell, who stars in this.
Yes.
Joe Spinell is the maniac, the killer, and he
wanted the movie to be a little bit more graphic. Like, he wanted to do some things that even Savini was like, "No, we can't do that." Like, he wanted to make it more like horrible.
Yeah, no, a little bit. And again, it's not, this movie isn't filled with gore, but the gore that we get is,
it's got a big
well, yeah, it's Tom Savini, and we'll get to that scene.
Yeah.
It's his biggest. Well, it is the most memorable head explosion in cinematic history, I guess. I mean, to a point, at least in these horror films. I don't think it's exploding heads has been in anything like.
We'll talk about that when we get to it.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, we will. But it's definitely very interesting. But Joe Spinell, I mean, the dude was the tough guy, the mobster in Rocky. He played he was first. Yes, The Godfather is where he was first found out. He didn't say a word, but he was in the background, the tough Italian guy. But
that's not Rocky, where I knew him from.
Where did you know him from?
Nighthawks with Billy D. Williams and Stallone and Lindsay Wagner. He played the police captain in Nighthawks.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's that guy from Hawks. That's where I knew from.
Yes. Oh yeah. No, he after Maniac, really. I mean, he went on to do a lot of different things. And hello, Suburban Cowboy. Long time no see, Dino. Miss you too, Ronnie. We are still chugging along here on the Late Horror Show. We have not veered from the horror that we always do. Me and Ted do our thing on Tuesdays. If anything, I've added much more horror. Me and Ginger do every Sunday night now, movie reviews. So you get 2 of those. There's horror trivia nights. So there's horror at least 3 nights a week, plus the other stuff that we do. So it's good to see you, Ronnie. Good old Suburban Cowboy with his shirt off, I'm sure. Anyway, it's a running gag for many years because he's been around since the channel was almost at the start of everything. So he's always been there through the horror content and all that. So anyways, it's good to see you. And I think I said hi boy donuts to RTN, but much more horror. Woohoo, says RTN. Hey, Chris W. Lindsay.
Let's
Wagner,
get into it. Come on. I want to get into it.
Yeah, no. Go ahead. What was there something you were saying really quick? Joe Spinell. Okay, we were talking about him, but he did want to get a part 2 to this. He was working towards getting a second Maniac movie made.
Okay.
But right when production was getting ready to kick off, he died. Let's just say that he died at the age of 52 years old. You look at him in this film and you go, how old was he in this film? Because he's a rugged, haggard Ron Jeremy type.
Yeah. All I can think about is how much he always looks so sweaty. He was so sweaty all the time.
Well, and this movie does for New York City what Basket Case did for New York City. Again, people back in the day were like, who would want to come to New York when they see this? Like, what you get in this is the same thing you get at the beginning of Basket Case. You get a dirty, and this is how New York was back then.
Yeah, gritty.
Still is in part, but gritty,
Mhm.
dark, grimy,
Scary.
just disgusting,
Scary.
scary.
Yeah.
You know, and you get all of that in this film, and I think that's one of the things that kind of turned people off with this film, even though since
Mhm.
then it's kind of become this cult classic, you know.
But the
when
thing
it comes to
that I got
genre. Mhm.
that turned people off was, like I was saying about Karens, and it was mostly the violence toward women is what they just didn't appreciate. It was like, you're just encouraging.
Well, if you take that stance,
All
that's
horror movies are like that.
that's pretty much it. I mean, usually there's a male protagonist killer that is after the female victim, even though you get movies like Friday the 13th and other ones where the guy gets killed just as much as the female, but in a different way. So,
Usually,
it's
the guy gets killed because he's in the way. He's like, he needs him to get out of the way so he can get to the girl to kill her.
Right. So pretty much that is kind of a thing with horror films. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, and that's why they
But
give
it
you
is
the
what it is.
final
I mean,
girl. Well, yeah. I mean, that's why you get the final girl, and most certainly of late you get a lot more stronger female characters that even in
who fight back.
Even on Nightmare on Elm Street, you get a very strong female in there that takes on the villain, Freddy Krueger.
Let's start talking about the movie. Let's talk about the opening scene.
Yes, we got to talk about everything, but yes, we're getting there. Let's start talking. Oh God, there's so much I want to even just begin with, because this. Okay, let's start off with the beginning of the movie. Go ahead. Why don't you take us there? Hello, Chad Farr.
It opens on a couple of kids making out on the beach, and there's a sound. There's a sound that you hear, and very makes you look like, wait a minute, because it's sound from.
It's you. Tell me.
It's from Halloween. It's from Halloween, isn't it? Or it's from
I'll have
Halloween.
to go back and listen. Yeah,
when he's looking at them on the beach.
Oh, okay. I didn't get that. I got a perverted serial killer looking through these binoculars, going, and you hear him like it's almost like it's not a, it's not any. It's a moan and a growl. It's a disturbing grunting. Like
it's animalistic, and you hear it again later too.
Oh yeah, no, because again, Joe Spinell, his name's Frank in this movie.
Zito.
Frank Zito in this movie, and he is kind of got two personalities going on. One where he's this lunatic adult male who kind of withdraws into this kind of kid at a lot of during most of the film, but he also splits off, and you hear him talking like he's his mother. So you've got him, two personalities. It's him, his mother, and it reminds me a lot of other like kind of serial killers. One that comes into mind that is Henry Lee Lucas, who is a serial killer, a prolific serial killer. How many he actually killed, nobody really knows, but he was forced by his mother at a very young age she was a prostitute, to watch him or make him watch her perform these acts in front of them. So, it's something that scarred his brain. I'm sure worked on what mentally turned him and scarred his brain to make him become a serial killer, and do the types
and
of
why he hated women so much. He really hated women.
Oh, exactly. And I think that comes across in this film to a T, because he's even got a shrine for his mother with candles and a picture, and it's just very, very disturbing.
Disturbing.
Everything about this movie is real. It looks real. It's from the perspective of the killer. It feels real, and I think that's why this is a movie that I don't think I'll watch this again. I've seen it, even though I appreciate it for what it is, and it was pretty well done for like a slasher kind of movie like this, a serial killer type, and everything that it kind of did for the genre. But it is something that I don't think I'd go back.
You said what it is. What it is about this movie though is the disco boy scene. I mean, that's what you watch this movie for. I mean,
well, yes, that's what it's known for. And hello, Maddox. What is going on? Let me just do a couple things here. Bella, Utopia, cheesy cliche storylines. Gotta love them. Femme fatales on the flip side. Well, but Bella, this movie doesn't have any of that. There is no cheese in this movie at all. I mean, this is a very deep, dark look into the mind of a killer, and they really pulled it off quite well with the help of Joe Spinell and also Tom Savini, who did what he did in the film and had a lot of work there too.
Savini said that most of the women in this movie were porn actresses. He said that most, if not all, of the women who had a role in this movie on camera were porn actresses. So he said it was really hard, like having these gorgeous porn actresses around them all the time. Like he said, it was very hard on the content.
Well, yeah. We were right at the end of the 70s, in that kind of grindhouse era. Was where you go into your local theater and you could see these kind of X-rated films, and on top of these kind of exploitation films, and then leading into the grindhouse.
Do you consider this to be exploitation though? Is that what you think this is?
Oh no,
I don't
not
okay,
this
I don't
one.
either.
Yeah. I think this is just purely what it is. It's a deep, dark look into a serial killer, and it's a slasher film, and it's different. It's done in a way that kind of paved the way for some other ones and stuff, along the lines of the Italian horror. Like a lot of the giallo films kind of have the same kind of feel to what we've seen here,
But the only thing, I was thinking that too, because I told you I've never really seen a giallo film before, and I was wondering if you consider this to be a giallo or not.
Oh no, because the killer's right out in the open. The killer's right out in the open.
No police investigation going on.
Yeah, no. So, but that scene, in the opening scene where you were talking about it, when he was looking at and he saw the two people down on the beach. There was a man and woman. Evidently, they slept there all night long, and the fire was going.
It was cold.
Yes, but she says a line that kind of cracks me up. She goes, "Hey, can you go get some wood?" And I'm like going, "Wait, what's going on?"
Right here.
Because they showed them making out kind of underneath the blanket. I'm like going, "Wait a second, what do we? Oh, wood for the fire. There you go." But I thought that was funny. I really did. So then we pop right up to the two prostitutes, right?
Yeah, and I don't know how far into it that you kind of put it together that his mother was a prostitute, and she's abusive. She wasn't just whatever, but she was abusive to him, and he's just completely scarred because of it.
Well, yeah, you get
he's incapable of having a normal relationship. He can't.
Oh no. I mean, I think they kind of did that very well in making a point of that. I think they may have even had Henry Lee Lucas as kind of a case study for what was going on, even though Joe Spinell was a totally different character than what was Henry Lee Lucas was. And that film too, kind of Henry Lee Lucas, Portrait of a Serial Killer, is another movie that's kind of in the same vein. So that's if you dig this and you haven't seen that one, you definitely should check that one out too. No, seriously. But
Those are the
let's
first
see.
two kills. Those are the first
Yeah.
two kills, and then what? Then we see him go home, and he's got these mannequins. He scalps.
Oh wait, hold
That's
on,
his
hold
thing.
on.
He scalps the
Let's
girls.
slow down.
Okay.
Let's slow down.
Okay.
You're going way too quick. Way too quick. Okay.
Okay. Sorry.
So we get to the first victim. Okay, we've got two prostitutes here. Okay, and yes, one is looking pretty foxy. I gotta say, the one in the shorts, but oh geez, made me cough there a little bit. But again, probably one. I do believe one of the porn actresses from that that he pulled for the movie. But she, the two prostitutes were sitting there, and the one that he ends up taken to the hotel there.
She needed to pay her rent.
Oh yeah.
Go that way. Go that way.
She needed her rent.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. She needed her rent money.
Yeah.
And she said, just one more for tonight and we'll be good.
Yeah.
And what she sorry guys. What she said was $25 for this, 50 for that, 75. And then the one next to her goes, was it 75 or 100? I don't know, whatever
100
it was for
the
ultimate. They said the ultimate. And I was a little pissed when I didn't find out what that ultimate was, because I'm curious. Okay, what's that next step? I think I know. But listen, I'm going.
Why am I not surprised that you are hung up on that? Why am I not surprised?
They left it hanging.
Yes.
It's just, and then okay, so then he goes inside and he's like, money. He's paying for the room and all that. So
a lot of money.
Which is, and this is the one part he could have given a fake name. I guess back in the late 70s, you can go into any hotel, motel, write any name you want on there as long as you're giving them the cash, right?
Right. Especially that kind of place where there's hookers standing right outside.
Oh yeah, and she said, "Give me my room. Give me the the room." But she definitely, or he definitely, is a face that you can't not remember. So
yeah,
when she comes up dead, it's like, how
and
far
they
are
know
they from
who went up there? Yeah,
catching this guy? Yeah, he looks like this. He's from the he's got to be from around here. It's little flaws in here, but it doesn't really affect the movie overall. I mean, they're just little. I'm nitpicking. I always nitpick when it comes to little money shot, says Chad Farr. What? Well, you get the money shot no matter what level you're at, but the ultimate, I'm just kidding. Anyways, okay. So Artian says, woohoo, ultimate prostitutes. What the It was ugly in the 1970s New York. Oh yeah. No.
Oh, and
yes.
When he goes back to his place and he takes his shirt off, you see those scars on his chest. I'm assuming that his mother put those there.
Yep. Tortured him, burnt cigarettes or burning or of whatever, he did not have a good upbringing from his mother, although he, and this is usually what happens. I mean, he has such a strong connection to her. She's scarred herself in his brain. She did so much bad, and that it's just ingrained in his head, which caused all the other issues and stuff. In real life, what happens in your youth affects the rest of your life. So,
oh yeah, absolutely.
Treat every kid with love and respect and care and kindness, and doesn't mean you don't put them in their place when they need to. But anyways, listen to me. I'm preaching. But anyways, listen. Hey,
but you know what? Also, sometimes you do the best you can, and something still ends. I mean, it's perfect. You do the best you can, and still something goes wrong. So,
right. No, I'm very open with my childhood. I've had I didn't turn into nothing, but I've had a very rough one. So the scarring aspect of what can go on in your youth, I understand 100%. So, okay. So what happens into this hotel room, motel? It's a hotel.
It's a hotel.
Yeah, it's a big brick building. Are we dropping views again, or are we really just only at 28 people? It's talking about bit rate or something again. You know, this again. I think the next live stream will be we've got Tracy on Tuesday, but Wednesday with me and Ted, it's I'm not going to have to deal with this because the internet is going to be totally fixed. And I cannot wait because this stuff drives me nuts.
I
Even
know.
overnight, I don't even get the real views overnight. As I'm looking in the live studio, it's just like all over the place and not showing the correct, like it's very weird. Anyways, again, yes, I'm going off into tangents. That's what I do. But we're in the hotel room and we get our first victim, and it is this prostitute. And this is where we come to find out that he scalps them. He does the good old scalp, right, Ginger? And what does he do with
He takes them back to his place.
Yes, he does.
And he staples them onto the heads of mannequins.
Well, he doesn't staple them. Well, he
nails them. He nails them.
He took a tack. He took a tack and took a hammer and knocked it. And the tack is sticking out. You know how big tacks stick out. I'm like going, what are you doing with the tack? But anyways, it was very interesting, so to speak.
In his mind, it works. In his mind, it's perfect. It's exactly what he wants. You can't,
Yeah. Hey, Kathy, what is going on? Much love, Kathy. Yeah, as we're talking terrible stuff here in the movie, much love to you. Oh.
And then isn't this? I think this is the point where he starts talking like his mother. He's always like admonishing himself, like, "Why do you do these things? Why do you do this? I told you not to do this. This is what happens when you go out." And that you're like, "Wait a minute, okay."
Yeah, that's your first glimpse of like the dual personality. You know, who the heck's he talking to? Okay, yeah,
right.
He's talking to his mother. His mother's kind of speaking for him, and they're kind of yeah. It's very. Also, during that kill in the hotel room, you get this again. Joe Spinell, man, what a guy! What a guy! You gotta love him. No, there's ugly people. There's pretty people. There's I don't know,
sweaty people, and Joe Spinell was sweaty. People. He lost a lot of weight after this, though, because when he was in Nighthawks, he wasn't that fat.
No, he did. But you know why? There was hello, Phil's creepy videos. What's going on, Phil? Good to see you in here, my friend. He's got, and that's rumors. I don't think it's stapled down about his death, but you can assume he was an alcoholic. He did do drugs. So at 52 years of age and you pass away, and you're doing hardcore. Of course, he lost weight after this. He got a little bit of fame, and with the money comes, especially back in the day, early 80s and through the 80s. I mean, that was kind of a thing going on there, but
I'm sure there was a lot of that going on this movie set because Spinell said, the director, Savini said the set, he said it was so much fun. He said it was so chill.
William Lustwig.
He was happy because I guess he had been in Lustwig. I'm talking about Savini, though. I saw an interview with Savini, the special effects guy. Yeah. He said that I guess he had been in Hollywood for some years, and he was just so happy to be able to live in New York while this film was shooting. He said for 2 or 3 months, he was back home living in New York, and they were just having a blast. He said it was a great set, very chill. So I'm sure there was a lot of that nose candy going on.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, and Chris W. brings up a point here too. The Maniac admonished himself in Psycho. Norman's mom constantly puts him down.
Yep.
So there was a little similarity to that, but totally different movie, but a little similarity. And even to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, there's a little bit of kind of feel to this movie, even though it's hard to pin this movie down, really. Yeah. There's a lot of inspiration coming from, I think, a lot of different places. But well said, because Psycho kind of does come into this. Is key to love and law. Bella, very true. Kindness is key in love to law. Can still flick eyebrows through the. Okay. Anyways, yeah, Joe Spinell sweating over the prostitute. A horrific scene for me, and I'm like going, oh my god, which gets us to the other, and then the mannequins in the apartment. When you see the apartment when he gets there, right, Ginger? The
Yeah.
he's got like a baby doll sitting up there. He's got little, and then the shrine, the candles, the mannequin sitting at a table. It's spooky as hell, right? It just looks disturbing. Just the room. So
So what's next? What happens next?
So the set decorator is just like, wow, I mean, I give him props for making something look so eerie and
Creepy.
so spooky. Yeah, so he's going to get ready, because there's this serial killer mentality where you need to go and get your next victim. You know what I mean? So right away he's off. He's packing up some like violin case or something, cello case maybe. I don't know, but he's got a gun in there.
His kit.
His killer kit. Yes, and yes, he's going to find a victim, and this is where we run into Disco Man, Tom Savini himself.
Yes, he gets to blow his own head off. I mean,
well, it's just,
sorry,
you gotta work up to it. You got a long way to go here. You need to
speed it up, dude. Speed up.
Then we'd have a half-hour show, or then we're done. Listen. We got to be a little bit. We got to work up to these moments in the story, in the movie, that are just so.
Okay,
iconic. Go. You just blurted out the biggest part of the movie, and the most iconic. So we get Tom Savini, who plays Disco Guy, and he's picked up this chick.
Disco Guy.
Yeah, from the club, and he gets her in the car, and as easy as it is. And
the credits at the end of the movie, that's actually what his character was called, Disco Guy.
Yeah. Yeah. What else would you call him? He comes out of the disco and he drives to a safe. They probably got a kick out of that. It's not like that woman that he brought with him to.
Yeah.
And you could just see that he just wants one thing, and that's it. And she's like giggling. She's giggling, but she went with him in the car, and I think she wants what's going on there to happen.
Yeah, sure.
And, I mean, it shows that they just parked, and she said, "What a great spot! This is like, yeah, great spot. It's dark, and I think they're pointing towards a black just void and this brick building. If that's beautiful for you, I mean, whatever."
Well, I mean, because she knows that there's no chance anybody's going to see them. She thinks.
Yes. And Edward does bring up a good point. That is true. Lustig original request for the music was to have Goblin to score the movie before using Jay Chataway as second choice. Yep. And whereas the soundtrack don't blow you away by any means, it's
but it's good enough.
Yeah, it's good enough. It's okay. I think, again, I just think following around Joe Spinell, if this movie didn't have him in this movie, I don't think it would be anywhere near as
I can't imagine
turned out to be, right? I mean,
I can't imagine. He was so
spot on.
You kind of, in a way, a little bit, you kind of felt sorry for him, like a little. Did you like just a little part of you feel sorry for him? I did.
No, because I've seen enough. I've seen enough serial killers, documentaries, and thing. I mean, I feel sorry for the part of what happened to him as a child. I always do, even with the serial killers. You feel, of course, you have empathy for what they went through, but there's a whole story that's involved with what goes on even afterwards. And I'm not saying that's a tough one. That's a tough one to have an emotional like sadness for somebody who does evil things, even though they're doing those evil things because of the harm that was done to them as a child. Does it make that empathy? I don't know. Not for me. In this one, I definitely didn't feel sorry for him because he was just these poor women. But anyways,
Yeah.
where were we at? Oh, okay. So they're in the car. They're parked because we gotta wrap around this scene here. Tom Savini, he's in the driver's seat. They pop in the back. She ends up seeing
Somebody looking in the window.
Yeah, Frank. She sees Frank looking in the window at her. It's so. I mean, that's creepy in itself. It's so creepy.
Mm-hmm.
But he really needs help. Edward Stewart says. Well, no, and again, yes, it's a difficult thing to have empathy for a serial killer of any kind. We're talking about a movie. Again, I do have that empathy for what he went through and what he's dealing with. See, it's tough, right? Because we're talking about.
You can physically actually see the scars on him that his mother left on him. I mean, what a childhood this poor kid must have had. But not excusing what he's doing, but a small part of me feels sorry for him.
Yeah, I mean, this is a movie. If it was something in real life, and we used, like a documentary where you talk about like Henry Lee Lucas.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
I mean, he's pure evil. Okay, but
I don't think Dino's pure evil though. I mean, he is, but at the same time though, some of those serial killers they revel in what they do. Zito, it seems to me, if he didn't have to be that way, he wouldn't be that way. It's torturing him. He hates it that he has this lust to kill prostitutes. He hates that.
Yeah. No, and again, that comes with there's a lot of the mind of a serial killer. Yes, if you want to do some research, do some research.
I don't.
But the torture that some of these serial killers go through, just knowing that they need to get the kill for the bloodlust, okay, just to release that overwhelming feeling that they need, that urge that comes with it, it's sad. So you get into mental issues, all kinds of we're taking this way too far. This serial killer film.
The other similarity we're talking about with Tourist Trap, is he scalps them and he takes their hair and he hammers a nail he puts the hair on the mannequin because he wants to preserve.
Yes.
That's his family, or he wants to make sure that she can't ever.
Yes, he wants the mannequin to be the person that he just killed, the life he just took. He wants that mannequin to represent the life that he took, and
so that he can celebrate taking a life, or so that she can be company for him.
Company, and so he doesn't feel as bad. There's part of him that has sympathy after the kill. You see him in the hotel room when he kills the prostitute, running into the bathroom afterwards, throwing up, because just the act of what he's doing works him so
himself. Mm-hmm.
Yes, he's so disgusted over it, but it's an urge that he had to take care of, and to compensate for that, he brings the scalp back to put on a mannequin to dress up in the clothes, whatever the woman was wearing, and try to spend
kind of like so that
she in a normal way.
So that part of her, it's like, I'm letting you live on, like you're gonna still, you'll still exist, you'll still live on in my memory because I preserved part of you. I don't know.
No, he's somewhat a sympathetic character. I did see that. Who said that? Whoever said it, I don't know. Sandra says it. Hey, Sandra, good to see you. And hey, it's Dave Plouffe. He says, we had the Night Strangler in our part of the woods, and it still scares me today. It was 40 years ago. Yes, Dave Plouffe. We had a couple, nothing really big in Cleveland, but I mean, boy, we could do a whole show on just serial killers. It's very, very interesting. Chris W., I just watched an interview with Jeffrey Dahmer recently. I'm still scared. Well, you know what? Jeffrey Dahmer, okay, there's a case, and we're veering off just for a minute, Ginger, so don't mind. Jeffrey Dahmer is a serial killer who, and there are some serial killers who don't feel. They just don't, for some reason, they're either born that way. There are plenty of people who are born without emotion or care, and it doesn't,
because from what I understand, Dahmer, he didn't have like a terrible childhood or anything. I don't think he had a normal life. I think
he had a normal life. Parents who actually cared for him. He had like, he could kill something and it was like nothing. It would just be like peeling an apple. I mean, there's some
RTN
people who just
said silver bullet, RTN said.
I know.
Thanks,
Listen,
RTN.
listen, silver bullet questions are there. They're not going anywhere. They'll be
They're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere.
No. Listen, Josh, we will get the silver bullet. I'm just trying to get through my Frankensteins. That's all.
Okay. Continue.
But
with Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, he's just, there are some serial killers who people in general that just are born that do not feel, and certain, there's people who don't feel pain. Okay. There's people who just are not affected from emotion. And some of it's
watching other people suffer.
Yes. Well, there was an in-depth study on serial killers after their death with there were a lot of them that did not feel the pain or have empathy or show emotion towards what they did. Most of them had some kind of growth or black spot in certain parts of their brain.
The brain.
Yes. And they say that that's probably what affected them and what had to do with them not having. But anyways, that's a whole different stream for a whole different night. But moving on with the film, what do we come up to next? Then we get him.
We were talking about Disco Guy, but then she sees him in the window looking at them.
Yes. Oh my God, we still didn't finish that. Yeah. See,
no,
we'll make an hour and a half, no problem here, unless you jump to the but yeah, so the most iconic scene is what, Ginger? They get out of the car, they go up to the front seats, and Disco Guy is sitting in the seat, and they go, look, there's somebody out there. And do you know who that was?
I do.
Out there with the rifle? Who was it? It was
Tom Savini. It was Savini.
Yes, Savini killed himself.
Played Disco Boy. He played Disco Boy.
Yes.
Disco Guy.
And he played
a mask on himself.
Yes. And he played the character of Frank with the rifle, and he jumps on the hood of the car and blows the head off. And one of the most iconic head explosions of all time. And he said that they had to quickly get out of that location because evidently they didn't have a permit or nothing. They said
because you're not allowed to shoot off a rifle in the city, he said.
Right.
But they had to get out of there.
Right. So they did this without permission. They were just, everybody's filming and they're sitting there and they're going, hurry up, shoot the head. Let's get this filmed and wrapped.
And what was in the head? What was the matter that they put in the head?
You tell me.
When he blew it off and it splattered everywhere. It was like leftover food and garbage from the catering table. They had like shrimp and like just whatever was in the garbage can. It was just food that was just sitting around on the set, and they just packed it into that thing on that head.
Oh,
and
that's so gross. Yeah.
He said that they, like you say, had to hurry up and get out of there. And then when they went back like 2 weeks later to film the part where his blood hits the girl, they couldn't use the car because they had put the car in storage. And when they went back to go get the car, he said it stank so bad they couldn't even go in there because there's garbage in there. So they ditched the car in the Hudson River. They just dumped it into the river, and it's still there now. It's just in the river. And they had to use a different car because he said at that point it could be anything. You don't notice the interior of the car. So it was a completely your car that showed the blood splattering on the girl.
Yeah, no, that was very, and it's so funny that you were able to do that back in the day. You could just get rid of stuff off of the set, dump it in the river. Now you gotta go out at 3 a.m. and do whatever. Yeah, everybody's mentioning other brain explosions and stuff like that. Chris W says
This one
Dahmer's
was
interview
the
was
first
emotional.
of. This was Savini. I mean, this is the one that all others are based on.
Woohoo Scanners. I thought this was better than Scanners, but Scanners was
This was more realistic.
Yeah,
to me, this was so realistic.
Scanners was just like, whoa! Just, I mean, it was out there. It was good. It was good.
And
let's see.
So when he jumped up on hood of that car and blew off his own head, he said that the kickback from the rifle almost knocked him over, and somebody that was nearby caught him because it blew him back so hard. And
yeah. So Dave Fluffé says no. The best head explosion was Friday the 13th, Jason X, when the doctor's head was frozen in liquid nitrogen, and then Jason bashed it on the counter and it just shatters. That's not a head explosion, Dave Fluffé, Professor. That's a head shattering. I don't call that an explosion, but that was still pretty darn good. But, and don't mention Jason X. Oh man! But no, I'm.
And so what happens after he blows Disco Guy's head off, and then the girl is there looking at this, what used to be the guy she was making out with.
Yeah.
And she knows that the killer's out there now, and he's waiting for her.
Phantasm's another good one. Dawn of the Dead has another one. Again, Tom Savini had 3 head explosions. Dawn of the Dead, this one, and the movie we did, The Prowler. And out of all 3 of those movies, this one's the best, and I think this is the best head explosion of all time. But anyways,
me too.
Yeah. So Richard Speaker says, I'm gone. See you later, Richard. I mean, the title says it all. If you're not up for horror movie review discussions, I know you're here for the old time radios at night, but why you would say I'm gone as if you're angry? I'm sorry. I get upset when people come in, even if you're a regular and you don't understand. You shouldn't. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to shut up before I say something I shouldn't say. You should know just by looking at the title that this is a movie review. I've done the Late Horror Show channel.
And you even say what the movie is. What do you think it's going to be?
Yes.
It's not going to be Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Exactly. And I've said horror movie reviews for 7 years. And everybody knows what a horror movie is. And when you say review, if you're not going to like the content or if it's going to creep you out in any way, just don't show up to these. If you're not a horror movie lover, then just don't. It just upsets me when just leave.
Right.
Just leave. You don't need to.
The thing that people need to remember, that I always remember, is you have a family here. We're supposed to be family.
Yeah.
And these a comment like that directed at Dino or directed at the chat or directed at me, everyone sees that, and it's like, come on, if we're a family, don't do that. Like Dino said, just leave.
Exactly. All I'm saying is, if there's something you don't like, please in the chat, don't just like show, especially if you're a regular, you're here all the time and you're part of the family. Don't just go and speak out and say, I hate this. This is stupid. Yeah. Why is this playing tonight? Or something like that. It pisses me off, hurts me because I'm trying to put. It's disrespectful, and if I hurt your feelings, if you're still here, I don't know what to say except
RTN said he's the favorite in the family. I don't know. I guess I don't know. We hate to tell who's the favorite.
Well, there you go. House of the Devil has a good head explosion. Oh yeah, that's another very good movie. House of the Devil, very good. So they're all telling us head explosion. But yeah, I did a little spewing. Last night got me a little upset too. 3 people who should know better spent quite a while talking politics, like 3 in the morning or so. And please, no politics. If anybody sees it, just tell them, hey, Dino don't like politics. That's all.
Yeah.
It kills the chat, even though 2 or 3 people are loving the conversation. But to bring up, when you're listening to old time radio shows and stuff, and you're talking about China and the political dealings in Arizona or this or that, it's like, are you kidding me? And the people who are chatting know better. Anyways, NB head explosions, best of scanners. Okay, I probably got have 3 or 4 people just say, screw this channel, I hate Dino. But hey, I say
anyway.
Yeah, let's continue. Lee Donovan, you guys are killer cool. Just keep being you. That's the thing. I'd be myself. John David, what's up? Okay, so Frank is going after his next victim, right? And it's who is it? It's a nurse. And this is, go ahead.
Okay, remember that I told you that the way that I know Spinella is from Nighthawks?
Yes.
Okay, do you know the movie Nighthawks? Have you seen it?
Yes, it's Sylvester Stallone. I mean, come on, it's a classic.
And the opening scene of Nighthawks is.
Yeah.
Do you know the opening scene from Nighthawks?
Yes.
It's Stallone dressed. Stallone is a decoy cop, and because there's been some purse snatchings and muggings or whatever, and he's dressed as a nurse. And I just thought, because that's where I know Spinell from, because he was Stallone's boss in that movie. And then here's this scene where this nurse is being followed by these guys. Although they weren't going to murder her, they just wanted her purse. But it just made me think, wow, this is Nighthawks, and that's where I know him from. And I have to say, the funny thing about this movie that also reminds me of Nighthawks is they actually did film this in New York. You can see they're actually in the subway and stuff in New York. When is there ever a time, really? I live in Philly, and there's never a time that the subway is empty like that. Any time of the day or night, there's people, even if it's just homeless people. And there's like, this scene stretches on for like 15 minutes. He's stalking her and she's hiding and stuff, and you never see another person. Like, what are the odds that would ever really happen in New York?
Well, I'll tell you. There was and again, if I miss anything, I know you guys are talking to each other in the chat and stuff like that. I try to catch things if I see them real quick, but when we have a discussion, it's hard to see everybody. But I knew I'd rather have sex site bots rather than political chat. Exactly, Dave. Please.
Chris,
I'm drunk and
Chris said Mrs. Doubtfire had a purse too.
Oh my god.
Yes, she did.
So the scene that you're talking about, Ginger, and Ginger will have a microphone next week. The scene you're talking about with her going into the subway system in New York, yes, you would see some people, you would see some homeless, you would see somebody. This is a movie, so they're trying to make it look as creepy and she's as vulnerable as possible. Because there were a couple scenes when the train took off. If you notice, they shot it anyways, and there was a little crowd in the back behind the pillar. I could see it.
Oh, I didn't notice.
Yeah, and a couple other people.
So they were like, back up.
Yeah, I'm like going, there's like a group of like 5, 6, 7. If you look at that really quick, and I'm like going, you should be running to those people, and then you see that everything's empty. So I think that was a goof on their part, having that many.
I didn't even notice.
NB says Ginger is attractive. I guess that's a nice thing to say, right?
That's better than the redhead back.
Who said that again? Who said that before?
NB.
Okay, so it is NB. Just be careful what you say, NB. You got to respect the women and respect
RESPCT.
So Ginger is attractive is a nice sentiment, but
that is very nice. Thank you.
Yes, enjoy our conversation talking about the movie. Anyways, so yeah, she's this is a prolonged scene too. This is what
It is very
I
long.
kind of like. I kind of like this scene. It's kind of a build up to what's going to happen, and it's kind of one of those scenes where you're wondering, is she going to escape the
I thought
killer?
she
Is
was
she
going
going
to
to
get away. I kind of
Yeah.
thought that she'd get away. But then I was like, nah, why would she? Come on, why would she?
Well,
He's
yeah,
waiting. He's out there waiting.
I think in the end, respect the redhead, all the ladies here. Respect the redhead, all the ladies here. WWM. There you go.
What he said.
Anyways,
What he said.
yeah. Yeah. No. You and you feel sorry for her, definitely, but there's something about her when like she's doing all the wrong things, right?
Hmm.
I mean, when it comes to the females in this movie, and that's maybe one of the downsides. I would have liked to seen them be a little bit stronger, maybe. They,
Hmm.
I mean, brass tacks. They're filming it like real life. Are people going to freak out and do the wrong things? Yes, I guess they are, right? But this woman finally makes it into this restroom. Let's just get there. Makes it into this
Yeah, she
restroom.
corners herself. She corners
She corners
herself.
herself.
She's
But
got the whole outdoors, and she corners herself.
and whether he sees her or whatever or not, he does skip that last stall, I think on purpose. But what is she doing there? She's literally going,
I know. I was like, shush, she could still be out. And she didn't wait. Like, I couldn't really stretch it out any longer, but she didn't wait any time. She came out immediately. Like,
yeah.
why wouldn't you just wait like 5 minutes at least? Like, she came out right away.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she should not have been making noises.
Yeah, she made so much noise.
Yeah, again, I mean, no matter how freaked out you are that the killer is right there, you gotta hold in that grunt or whatever you want to let out. You know what I mean? Because
she's like, oh.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
Shut up. She goes and she goes splash
Exactly.
water on her face or something.
She gets out and she's like that hysterical laughter, like I survived. Oh my god, I survived. And splashes water on her face, and yes, she gets it from behind with, I believe it was, what did she get killed with there? Was it the dagger? Yes, the dagger. It was a knife, the dagger.
He had it in a, is that what he had it in the
low violent
case there now?
Yeah, but I think I think this one was a fold-up case, not the violent case. So he has different ways of bringing different weapons. So and this one was that little dagger knife, because you kind of get him washing it off a little bit in the sink, which whatever they used was pretty realistic for the blood. Yeah, so it was no ketchup, that's for sure. But if the victims used their heads and did the right things to get away, there would be no movie. Well, exactly, yeah. Sandra. That's what I'm saying. But we still have to point out the things that aggravate us. It's like, come on, lady, you're being a little too loud.
Also, she, that there's this crazed lunatic murderer out there killing women. She leaves at whatever 3 o'clock in the morning from her shift at the hospital, and her friend offers her a ride, and she said, "What
I know,
are you thinking?"
I know. Because she was, her friend was going home with her boyfriend, but she still should have taken a ride. And in the late 70s, roughly, even though this was 1980s, film 1979, whatever, there's still that, New York was a whole different place, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hell, let's just say there are many places around the country where you're not going to be walking down the street the same way they did then. Yeah. But overall, walking the streets of New York City in the dark, there's alleys everywhere. Yeah, you
alone, a woman alone, and there's a serial killer out there. I mean,
yeah, that's like Jack the Ripper, Victorian England. I mean, that was like late 1970s. New York. I mean, you can compare both of those cities, when it comes to serial killers and prey, in the same way, in the same manner. I mean, you could just pull somebody in an alleyway and then take care of it. So yeah,
So can we move on? Let's go. I want to get to the beautiful girl, the girl that's like,
oh yeah,
oh, absolutely, you'd see a woman who looks that good going out with a sweaty guy like Zito.
well, again, that's something that I don't think would ever happen. His next thing is he's looking for his next victim. He goes to a park. He sees this woman taking pictures, one of him, and I don't think he liked that very much because
So he moseys over to where, oh,
no, he bends down to
he
tie his shoe
moseys over to where her bag is, and he pretends he's tying his shoe, and of course, conveniently, name and address on her little tag of her camera case, and he's like, nope.
Yep, and you don't do that, ever. You should never do it. Times Square was ugly back then. Yes, it was, RTN. On New York. I'm trying to read some of these, but yeah, he meets this woman, and boy,
And she's gorgeous. Oh,
yes, she's gorgeous. She's Carolyn Monroe is her name.
Monroe. Mm-hmm.
And she's I don't know if she's an Italian actress.
I don't think
her
so.
real name is Anna D'Antoni. I'm trying to look real quick, like on what else she did.
She did the kind of stuff that when you went to the video store, you'd have to go behind the beaded curtain in the back of the video store.
Well, she was in Slaughter High, The Golden Voyage of Sinbad, The Spy Who Loved Me. So she did some films. She was in a lot of films, actually. The Abominable Dr. Phibes. So she was kind of sure. So she was in quite a few films, but she was very beautiful. And for him to get this type of woman was just it was just ridiculous. And is it a flaw in the movie? Whatever. It worked, but again,
for him to be able to get a girl to go out with him at all was like a stretch.
No, I think me watching it and him saying, "Would you like to go get a bite to eat up the street? I know this great place. It's called Clams." First of all, that was another downside. How he flipped that quickly to being this normal guy right away,
mm-hmm.
and talking to a female of her caliber in the manner he was like, okay, his character does not portray that in any way. So why the director said, "Yeah, play it that way. Play it that way," is strange.
And she found him charming. She thought he was just oh, he's so charming, Yes,
yeah,
I'll go out with you. You're so charming. And though I got to mention a little detail that drives me crazy. When they went out to dinner, they were having dessert, and they each had cheesecake. And she was eating his cheesecake, and she had a slice of cheesecake in front of her. I'm like, why are you eating his when yours is right there in front of you? That bothered me. But so,
yeah, no, she has been with him forever.
Yeah,
it's like, what do you do? I mean, it was the era, whatever. I don't know. It was a different time, but you're still not going to take any from this. It was a flaw. Let me just say that. If the woman was a little less, it sounds
so hot. She was so hot.
She was, yeah.
Like I said, just the idea they could get a woman to go out with him at all, but a woman as gorgeous as her, come on.
Yeah. It was quite odd, but this kind of was. I'm not going to say a turning point, but there was a little bit of him that was kind of trying to, hey, maybe something can come of this woman, So he's thinking, we
can't go back to his place though, because he'd have to explain all those mannequins with the scalps of dead women hammered into their heads. So
we'll
have to go to your place.
Definitely. No, it's yes. So she says, yeah, go ahead.
She's had a photo shoot.
Yes, where there's 3 other beautiful women, probably porn actresses.
Yes, they are.
As Ludwig's. It's funny that the females in the movie are just porn actresses, whatever. But they're doing their little photography session, and he
does that growl again. He watches him and he's like, "Rrr."
it's the creepiest thing, him growling and grunting like he does. Like, okay, nobody's hearing him do this because there's a guy who's in charge of the photo shoot sitting right next to him over there.
Yeah.
It's like, is he hearing this? You know, hey, get the pervert out of there. Who's this guy who just brought in this box with a bow on it and it's on his lap? You know, what's that called? The Justin.
I got something in a box. Something
in a box.
In a box.
Yeah. So it's like, take the box top off. It's but anyways, I guess we're 9:10 already. Wow. So he sees one of the models put her necklace, which was important to her, down.
Yes.
And that was his in to go
to her place. He grabs it. He grabs it when her back is turned. He grabs it.
Yeah.
And he goes back to her place to let her know, hey, I found your necklace.
Yep. To get another.
And she's, of course, she's a porn star. She's getting ready to take a bath because the woman always has to be getting ready to take a bath right before she gets murdered. And he knocks on the door.
She takes her clothes off, and you get a little nudity there. You know,
sure.
There's not a whole lot of that in this movie. For a movie like this in the day, there isn't a whole lot. You know, so. Yeah, along the lines of a lot of the Italian. Well, I take that back. There's some nudity in a bit of the giallo films, but anyways, you almost get full on Bush there too when she gets in the tub. So I'm just saying, there's a little bit of almost full on, but anyways, she's used to that though. You know.
So anyway,
were different.
She gets out of the tub, and he.
First she goes to the door with the robe on before she gets in the tub. She
sees him does something to the door.
Oh yeah, he sticks the lock. Like there would be a thing on the old doors where they would automatically lock when you close it, and if you push that button,
he pushed
it turned. Yeah, so
she closes the door, and she doesn't realize that the door's not actually closed. It's not latched.
Hello, Kevin. He says hello, maniacs. So she's got her necklace. He comes in, he sneaks in, and lo and behold, she's going to be the next victim. I mean, she gets kind of across the. No, that's not what happens. He doesn't kill her right away. He takes her and ties her up on the bed. Not to his place. He just ties her up and puts her on a bed with a gag. And this is where he starts.
And he says, I don't want to kill you.
Yeah, and he starts talking a little bit like that infantile kind of like character, like, you know, I don't want to kill you, but
you can trust me. You can trust me. I'm not going to hurt you.
And he says, like, you know, I'll keep you happy as long as you stay here with me forever.
And don't yell.
Wait a second. What are you talking about? This does not seem like it's something I want. And she starts going, and that's when he kind of freaks out and, you know, ends up killing her. And
she has a great apartment, though. I would love to see that apartment right now in New York, and where they were at in New York. I'm assuming they were probably in Brooklyn or Queens. What a great apartment she had.
Yeah, no, it was unlike some of the smaller ones. This was a little bit bigger, and the way some of the apartments were in New York back then, well, still now. I mean, they're still there.
They're like tenements.
Yeah, you know, you would have so many corridors leading to the other rooms. You know, it was kind of cool. I like that. But so he ends up killing her and falls down on her kind of and is crying, and ends up taking her scalp with him to the back to the house too, and she gets it in it's like right in the like belly, like right above the it's just disturbing. Like I said, everything feels so realistic the way he does it, and you know, when he gets it back to his apartment too, he's dressing her up and stuff like that. And this is where he like kind of goes over to his mother's talk. He's talking like his mother and himself, and he sits in this toy or in this chair where he's playing with his toys, like he's a kid again. Just
He's playing with
very.
Barbie.
Am I missing something? Justin says Wild Dino Ginger crazy movie with great effects by Tom Savini. Yep.
Yeah.
S Hash Johns, the killer is as scary as the killer in the Inner Sanctum episodes last night. Did you enjoy that? Tonight we are going to have all night. It's been a long time since I put a set together of all new shows. Still have more Whistler to do. I think I still have enough for another stream. So we're on stream number 13. And people, you can find the playlist to all Whistler shows in the playlist. So this is stream number 13 tonight. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. I think these were coming up to like 1951. So still excellent. I do like when Frank, Joe Spinell, is in the chair after that kill and he's in an apartment and he looks over. He has to release again. And the way he does it is by picking up that like BB type gun, pellet gun, and he's shooting at a target of a woman on the like just the wall, and he hits it dead set in the center 3 times, and he sits back like this, like like almost like it was a kill, like he got satisfaction from that too.
Yeah.
Very odd. And I guess we can start to round out this movie. Sounds like a great chat. Great movie, 1980 slasher horror film. Yeah.
He asks this beautiful woman, the photographer, if they can stop by his mother's grave, which is a really fun thing to do on a first date.
Yeah. This is the ending of the movie, and she's again this character, Carolyn Monroe, this beautiful woman that he has somehow caught the eye of. Everything's okay with her. Let's go to the graveyard and visit my mother, and that's exactly where they're headed, right?
Yes, and then he snaps.
Yeah, no, they walk up and it's nighttime, and whoever was using the fog machine was really going to town on the fog machine. RTN signal oil. That's funny. But yeah, so they go to the gravesite, and of course, him just being in the presence of the gravestone and his mother. It's just so funny seeing them, how they look in the car together. She's so beautiful. He's just like,
and he's so sweaty.
It's so miscast when it comes to that. But anyways, the gravestone, and this is kind of the getting towards the end here.
It's like a climax.
Yeah, he's kind of his character kind of comes out, and he starts to cry, and she's kind of comforting him,
but she's still like, okay, this is not. I mean, like, come on.
yeah. She's like, what's going on here? You're a grown man. Chill
and
out.
Then she ends up running away from him in terror
because he grabs at her neck, and he's going to take care of her. So as beautiful as she was, he was going to take care of her too, and because his mind just clicked, and she ended up running away in this graveyard.
And then you never see her again. You never see her again.
Right. But what does she do to him that's very important in the graveyard?
I don't remember.
Oh, she's hiding behind him as he's chasing her, and she whacks him with this shovel that she must have found. Right in the side of the arm where he's bleeding like crazy. And his first instinct is to beat it and go directly home. So the end of the film here is pretty much big red flag CM. Yeah, right. We saw that on Return of the Living Dead, dancing naked in the cemetery. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Excuse me.
But yeah, they were. So he runs back to the apartment and he's laying down, pretty much just, crying.
Yeah, I need you to explain this scene to me. I need you to tell me what the scene means to you, because I'm very confused.
No, I think it's pretty simple. He's laying down, bleeding to death.
Hmm.
Okay, so we think, but he's bleeding to death, and he looks over and he sees the mannequins that all have, all his kills
Yeah.
are wigged with mannequins, and they're all a la the tourist or tourist trap, like we seen last time, where the mannequin started turning on him. We start seeing a little bit of that, and that started. I'm like going, wait a second, this is weird, but he's visualizing. This is all a state he's in because he's bleeding, he's in pain, his mind's freaking out.
So,
All his
so you're
victims.
saying this isn't really happening? This real?
No, no.
Okay.
He thinks it's all happening, and he's feeling so bad because he's bleeding to death, that he's visualizing all of these mannequins coming at him to take him down, basically. And it's interesting. The one scene out of this, that we would get later on is from Dawn of the Dead, where
Hmm.
it's almost an exact scene where they're over the body, all the mannequins or the women, because they turn into the women,
Right.
that he killed, and they're leaning over him, kind of with weapons and taking care of him, killing
Yeah.
him. And it's reminiscent of Dawn of the Dead, where all the people kind of go over all the zombies go over the top of the, I forget the character's name, but and then start ripping his guts out and tears him apart. It's almost the same exact scene as that. It's very
Okay.
cool. So Tom Savini somehow used the same kind of look, later on in Dawn of the Dead, but it's him visualizing these women doing this to them. I mean, the mannequins haven't come to life. They're not coming to get him. He had that knife that he, next to him, that he wanted to just get rid of the pain. This is the end. And he
Hmm.
stuck it straight through the middle of him. The mannequins didn't do that. He did that. And so that's my thought process on anything. And to wind it out, the two cops come,
Yeah.
okay, and they open the door and they look at him and
And
they
then they leave.
go, he's dead. Let's go get a cup of
Then they just
coffee.
leave.
We won't call forensics. We won't,
Call the meat wagon.
make this. Yeah, we won't make this a crime scene until after we've gotten our, donuts and whatever. There is another cool scene at the cemetery too, before we end this, where there's a big jump scare where he's leaning over his mother's grave when she takes off. Carolyn Monroe takes off,
Yes.
and his mother is like a zombie coming out of the grave and grabs him real quick, and then she goes back in. But I had to mention that. That's a cool scene in here. But the two cops leave, and what do we get? The very ending of this movie.
He opens his eyes.
Yes, the camera pans in on him, right on his face, and then his eyes open, and the movie ends. And that's because Joe
They
Spinell
intended to have a second one.
wanted to eventually have that second movie, which he passed away, never was able to get to. So yeah, that's exactly
So,
what
so I have
happened.
a story to tell you about this if you haven't heard it already, and even if you have, I'm going to tell it anyway.
Sure.
When Bill Lustig and Tom Savini went to go see the movie when it premiered in New York,
Yeah.
they when they came out of the theater after the movie, they were going to go to some midtown, like their favorite restaurant, and these two walked up to him, these two young guys, and they had their suits and their little briefcases, and he was like, they looked like they didn't know how to wear a suit. They weren't used to wearing suits, but they recognized Tom Savini, and they said, hey,
Yeah.
like, we're doing some editing of this movie that we're trying to get together, and we would love it if you would just come have a look at it, and just see what, let us know what you think about it and what you think we could do with it. And those two kids were Sam Raimi and Bob Tapper, and the movie that they were working on was
Evil Dead.
Evil Dead.
Yeah.
That story.
Oh yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, and luckily they got enough funds together
Mm-hmm.
and created Evil Dead. And
Mm-hmm.
then Evil Dead Part 2 was kind of a remastering of that in somewhat. a different way. But yeah, no, Evil Dead, very iconic, and that's an interesting story. Yeah, Tom Savini. That New York was a different place back then. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but overall, the movie is interesting for its take on the character study of a serial killer, putting a backseat to the other characters, which might be a little bit of a detriment to the movie itself. If you gave them a little bit more character, it might have added to the maybe the rewatch value. But as it stands, again, I don't think I'd watch this again. Even though I enjoyed
I'd watch
it.
it again. I think I'd watch it again.
Yeah.
And like part of it, you said the grittiness of it, like
Later,
you couldn't make that movie because New York doesn't look like that anymore. It doesn't feel like that anymore. So that I like that kind of thing. Like it's a whole
Amen.
mood. So that's a
Yes.
reason to watch it. The special effects, character study, and the fact that was New York, like late 70s, very early 80s, disco. Just the way that it looked all grimy like that. Like it was a time. It was an era.
Yeah, that's why that's why we haven't watched Basket Case. You haven't seen Basket Case yet, have you? I might have to just make that a movie night here.
Okay.
This coming up. I think we might just watch, because you know what? That is what I love about Basket Case. Well, there's a lot of things I love about Basket Case. I mean, it is New York, gritty, grime. You get the main male character in this film running down the gritty New York City streets, buck naked, full frontal, his wang flipping back and forth. It is just so out there. In a weird dream sequence, almost. It's weird, and then it flips into this. Listen, Basket Case has one of the here. Let's end this though. Like, what did you think? Like, I would give this movie for me, oh boy, this is a tough one too. Maybe a 6.5 out of 10 for the genre of film that it is. So I would say 6.5 out of 10.
Okay, I'll say 7.
You'll say 7? Okay.
It's not the worst. I mean, you have some things in this movie that are, that not just the head blowing up. I mean, you got, like you said, the character study, learning about what makes this serial killer tick.
Yeah. And Joe Spinell's
special
performance.
Effects.
Yeah.
The whole thing with the mannequins, it was very creepy. The atmosphere in New York. I mean, I would at least give it a solid 7.
Yeah.
6.5 is so close to 5.
Yeah, no. I think we're spot on here. Donovan Belair is here. What's going on? What I like about Basket Case is that if you take out the horror, it could be comedy and show brother bonding moments. You would really have to work that film a little bit, Donovan Belair. And if you take the horror out of it, I get what you're saying. But I don't know. But interesting take on it, that's for sure.
The kill count I got, and I actually counted this time, but I counted Frank too. But that includes Frank, which I guess it shouldn't, because I guess he's not really dead.
Because he opens his eyes, so we'll have to drop it to 7. So
7, okay.
So the kill count is 7 for this movie. So very cool, very cool. So yeah.
This is a movie where I don't know how many other movies are like this. You'll have to tell me, because I don't have a lot of experience with the horror genre yet. Okay. But the final girl, you kind of have a connection to her, like you've seen her throughout the whole movie. And this one, the final girl, was just some random girl. I mean,
again, it's because of that. It's all from the mind of the killer. It's the it's the character study of a serial killer and from the view of the killer. The entire film. If there were side plots that involved that final girl, and which they tried a little bit, there's some story behind them, but it's so generic and so low key that it just really doesn't add any credence to a final girl. So even though she escaped and Carolyn Monroe was the final girl, didn't really mean anything, I mean, what meant something was the ending where his eyes opened and you're like, whoa. And everybody at the theater had to been going, there's going to be another movie. Which,
Yeah, because that's what
unbeknownst
that
to them.
means.
Yeah. Let's see. Hey, Dino, it's joke time. Why did the cornflake fear the milk? He heard it was a serial killer. Very apropos to what we're talking about. But Basket Case, also, it's about this weird creature, and you get some really cool stop motion. But what you get is a lot of characters in the movie that the acting is so bad that it
I thought you were
makes this.
going to say it was so good.
No, the acting is so bad by a lot of the characters that it just makes this movie of one of a kind.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is nothing, Ginger, there is nothing like the characters in Basket Case.
Okay.
So that is why we must watch Basket Case together on Patreon, on the channel join.
We also have to watch Frankenhooker. I haven't seen Frankenhooker.
Oh, yeah, because you weren't here for that. So here we go. We're going to end this now. Another one in the books. Next week, we are going to do Torso. That's going to be an interesting discussion, too, because it's one I haven't seen, and it's a giallo film. One of my loves, a genre that I love recently, the past couple years, and have taken to big time. Mejai 707, sup y'alls? Sup, man? What's going on, yo? Quit my daytime job and decided to embrace the Nighthawk life, but I must miss the late horror show chat. Good to have you back, and always welcome, always welcome. Boy Wonder, always saying some good words about the channel. Happy to see everyone. Greatest channel ever on YouTube. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So me and Ginger, another one in the books, Ginger, right? Can't wait for Torso next week. And yeah, O-Time Radio show tonight. Stream number 13 of The Whistler. And I won't have a battle of the O-Time Radio detectives tomorrow just because I'll be doing some very important stuff to fix all of this internet stuff. So come Tuesday, you'll see me on the show with Tracy and the Paranormal. Haunted Nova Scotia. So that's part of her paranormal group. So she already sent me, there's going to be some clips, like I think 4 video clips, and there's some cool EVPs in a couple of them. So it'll be like you're watching Ghost.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's kind of some cool stuff. So very, very cool. And yeah, so there you go. I'm going to get ready for that stream overnight tonight.
Thanks, everybody. I had fun.
Yeah. And we will see you next time.